Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, my review and impressions of the all-new Jeep Cherokee. Virtual power plants are having a moment. And here's a question. Should there be a social media ban for young teens? To add your voice to the conversation, be it to ask a question, share an opinion, or even suggest a topic for future discussion, call or text the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793. Or you can email the show directly, talk@techmobility.show. From the Tech Mobility News Desk, Mitsubishi. Remember them? Every now and then, I want to remind you, they still sell vehicles in the United States of America, although not many. And being 27% owned by Nissan, they're not dead yet. And it's funny because in the rest of the world, Mitsubishi sells hundreds of thousands of vehicles. Matter of fact, I believe last year they sold over 700,000 vehicles in the rest of the world. In the United States, barely a blip. I'm not even sure they sold 100,000 in this country, which, again, is nothing compared to the mass market vehicles that everybody else is building. And for the record, Mitsubishi does not have an American plant of any kind at this time. So how does Mitsubishi, and they make an announcement, which is why I'm sharing the name, how do they find the money and the engineering wherewithal? Because even their total global sales, really, honestly, truly, it's less than 1 million. And building vehicles for sale in the world is extremely expensive, highly competitive, and engineering intensive, which means you need long product runs. And again, at 700,000 to 800,000 units, you're barely running 2 assembly plants flat out. And they better be flexible for what you're trying to sell. So how do you do it? Obviously, funds are limited. What do? Well, you turn to your partner that owns part of you and go, hey, we would love to badge engineer some vehicles that you're already making. And in fact, they did that. The Mitsubishi Outlander is basically a badge engineered Nissan Rogue. And it's sad to say that, or not, depending on how you choose to judge, probably one of the best products Mitsubishi's made in recent time. I mean, it's slightly done over, but it works for them. If you're a Mitsubishi dealer, though, you need more than 1 or 2 products to sell. If you're going to have a standalone dealership, there's only so many used cars you can sell. Well, a while back, they came out with, what did they call that? It was a cross, Mitsubishi Cross, Eclipse Cross, something like that. And they made a dent, but just a dent. Literally just a dent. Oh, I'm sorry. It was an Eclipse Cross. That's what it was called. So they're selling the Outlander, which was the re-engineered Rogue, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, and, of course, the Outlander plug-in hybrid, which is their only kind of electrified, I guess is the right term to use, vehicle. Here's what they're doing next. They just showed pictures and announced the 2027 Mitsubishi Eclipse Sportback, a fully electric compact crossover that marks the next step in the brand's North American electrification strategy. Yes, Mitsubishi has a North American electrification strategy. I've seen pictures. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a done-over Nissan Leaf. That's what it's based on. But really, the sheet metal looks sharp. It's a nice-looking piece. However, if they are lifting wholesale without improvement or changes what Nissan's range is for the Leaf, which is roughly 200 miles, then it's going to be a problem. For what they're going to end up having to sell that for, it really needs to be at least $350 if they're going to sell it. But this is what they're talking about. And they're expecting it to arrive in U.S. and Canadian dealerships now. It should be hitting the ground now. I haven't seen one yet, But the launch represents Mitsubishi's second battery electric vehicle for North America and supports the company's Momentum 2030 plan. They got a plan, which calls for a significantly refreshed or new vehicle introduction each year until 2030. While I'm on that subject, they are also going back into the mid-size pickup truck market. How are they going to do that? Yep, rebadged Nissan Frontier. The challenge is all the automakers are not in that field that Toyota Tacoma has had for so long, are waking up and saying, you know what? We want a piece of that. Stellantis, through Ram, is coming back into the market. GM, of course, with Chevy Colorado. Hyundai and Kia are looking at getting into that part of the market. And then, of course, Nissan's been in that part of the market. But the Tacoma outsells everything else by big numbers. They sold almost 70,000 Tacomas last year, and they got a dedicated plant just over the border in Mexico to build them for here. So they are really attuned to what the market needs. Mitsubishi won't be like that. And then you got everybody else coming in. Is this too much too late? Now, full disclosure, Mitsubishi already and has for some time builds a mid-size pickup in Thailand that they do not, have not, and will not export to the United States, which is really sad because I've seen it. And it was a wonder that, gee, why wouldn't you modify this one and sell it? It's yours. Because if you go back 40 years, Mitsubishi and Toyota and Nissan, these guys, and Mazda even, were selling compact pickup trucks. They were rock durable. And they were everywhere. We're looking at the same thing now in the mid-sized truck market in the United States. Mitsubishi wants a bite. And they're going to get there as economically as they can. But my question for Mitsubishi, is it too little, too late? You're coming in with the Nissan Frontier, fine. Understand that you're not going to build a truck from the ground up. You don't have the numbers. You don't have the plant space. You can't do it. I got you. But the question is, will it be enough? Will your dealer body, what's left of it, be enough? Because they're talking about expanding the dealer body. Well, you got a chicken and the egg problem there too. You can't add dealers if you ain't got enough product for it to support them. And the last time we reported on Mitsubishi, they were all losing money. And not pennies either. So you're going to need to be competitive. You're going to have compelling product. And you're going to have enough of it so that if someone decides they want to cast their lot with Mitsubishi in the United States, that they will actually have a business that is a going concern, factory supported with factory advertising and enough product to sell and everything that you need to be competitive. Because if you think Toyota's just going to sit around and go, oh me, oh my, if you think Chevrolet's just going to sit on their thumbs, if you think Stellantis through Ram is coming in with anything less than both guns blazing, you're in for a surprise, folks. The mid-size truck market in the United States is the next battlefield for supremacy, and everybody's gunning for it, which means as a consumer, if you don't want a full-size pickup truck because you don't like the price north of $60,000, you might be able to find a pickup, Ford, coming in with their own make at 30-ish grand, and then there's Slate. Everybody's gunning for this size. If you're a consumer, it's going to be a great time to buy a mid-size pickup truck in the next 4 to 5 years. If you're an automaker, not everybody coming is going to survive, let me tell you. But unless Mitsubishi has a rabbit in that hat, they're going to find it's tough sledding because everybody's knives are out in that category right now. It's going to be crazy. Good crazy, but depending who you are. After a brief absence of several years, Jeep brings back the Cherokee. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show. You've heard me me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
This Jeep Cherokee has some amazing things going for it. Room for 5 adults or 71 cubic feet of cargo. Doors, your choice of 2 or 4. Drive, 2 or 4-wheel shift on the fly. Power from a torquey 2.5-liter engine. But most important, this Cherokee is all Jeep.
Get $1,000 cash back from the factory on 2-door Jeep Cherokee. See your Jeep dealer now.
This commercial was from 1986, and it makes a point that I've been making lately about Stellantis and Jeep in general. 3 words in that commercial. This vehicle is all Jeep, and they implied everything that Jeep was, everything that Jeep was trying to be in terms of rugged, stability, go anywhere, do anything. Bear that in mind, because I'm going to fuss about it later. When Stellantis discontinued the Jeep Cherokee in 2023, it left a hole in the automaker's product line that Jeep dealers struggled to overcome. As a result, sales across the nameplate fell because Jeep no longer had a competitive product to offer in the sweet spot of the market. But, as usual, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Jeep Cherokee name has a robust history that actually not only predates Stellantis, but Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and even the old Chrysler Corporation before that. But first, some history and some context. The original Jeep Cherokee was first introduced by then-owner American Motors Corporation as a rebadged and reintroduced full-size version of the 2-door Jeep Wagoneer in 1974. It replaced the Jeepster Commando that was first introduced 2 years prior because that model failed to meet sales expectations despite extensive upgrades. The Cherokee was marketed as the sporty 2-door variant of Jeep's station wagon that went beyond the CJ5, which was the legendary descendant of the original World War II GP, with the DNA which would eventually become the modern Wrangler, but I digress, in interior space with off-road ability. History would be made in 1984 as AMC moved the Cherokee nameplate to a brand new unibody chassis off of the body-on-frame. Many would acknowledge that this is the model that served as the basis of what would become known as the modern SUV. So popular would this second generation become that even when, by this time, Chrysler introduced the Grand Cherokee in 1993, they had plans to discontinue the Cherokee, but this is what they would do. They discounted the thing by $5,000, and they would build it as long as they had orders. And they figured that'd be for the year. However, continuing what that dollar amount reduction did was stimulate demand that would run for another 8 model years. ending its run for this body style in 2001. And fun fact, what they consider the third and fourth generation of this vehicle was renamed the Jeep Liberty. And that's all I'm going to say about the Liberty, because my mama said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles would bring back the Cherokee name on a Fiat-sourced platform, fifth generation in 2014. The Cherokee was manufactured by that time at the automaker's Belvidere assembly plant in Illinois until it was discontinued in February of 2023. That brings us to now. In an attempt to reverse the sales slide in the United States and in responding to dealer pleas to reintroduce it, Stellantis revived the Cherokee name for the sixth generation in August 2025. Now manufactured at the company's Toluca plant in Mexico, the Cherokee rides on the STLA large traverse platform. The new Jeep Cherokee is available in 4 trim levels and is powered by a hybrid system that consists of a 1.6-liter 4-cylinder gasoline turbo engine that is mated to a 1.03 kilowatt-hour nickel, cobalt, magnesium graphite battery pack. The combined system produces 177 horsepower and 221 foot-pounds of torque. Energy is communicated to all 4 wheels through an electronic continuously variable automatic transmission and a 1-speed transfer case. The Cherokee is equipped with Jeep Active Drive 1, a fully disconnecting 4x2 mode with an automatic 4x4 engagement. And that is a mechanical engagement, not electric. It also incorporates select terrain traction management with auto, sport, snow, and sand mud modes. EPA fuel economy numbers are 39 city, 35 highway. Cargo capacity is 68.3 cubic feet. Payload capacity is 850 pounds, with towing capacity 3,500 pounds. This is what I liked about the Cherokee. I need to first start with full disclosure. The impressions and opinions about the Cherokee that follows are based on my limited time behind the wheel at Road America's facility in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. This event, which I've talked to you about before, is sponsored by the Midwest Automotive Media Association and allows automotive journalists like me to actually experience vehicles for a short time that I may not get a chance to drive or otherwise experience in a timely manner. And having said that, I must also add that none of the 4 Cherokee models qualify as trail rated. Only the Wrangler and the Gladiator pickup are fully trail rated. For other Jeep models, you got to look for the Trailhawk trim level. In case you were wondering, trail-rated vehicles are rigorously tested across 5 categories: traction, waterfording, maneuverability, articulation, and ground clearance. I found the Cherokee to have solid build quality with average acceleration on road. The driver enjoys a decent outward view of the road and its surroundings. The rear doors open wide to facilitate entry and exit to the split rear seating area, which also features good legroom for 2 adults, 3 in a pinch. Dual USB ports for both front and rear passengers are a plus, as are the standard rear center armrest and cup holders. The rear seat backs also fold nearly flat with a cargo area floor. Under cargo area storage is a welcome plus. Here's what I didn't like about the Cherokee. Displays are smallish. There's a dearth of nooks and crannies throughout the cabin, and that includes the doors. The Nexen Rodian GTX 18-inch tires are not run flats and are not puncture resistant. And there's no spare tire. The height of the cargo floor is high, reducing its functionality. A power rear hatch, open and close, is not standard. However, a foot-operated power liftgate is available in the top-of-the-line Overland trim level. Finally, it ain't trail-rated, nor is there a trail-rated model currently available in the Cherokee lineup. So here's the bottom line. The new Cherokee is exactly what the Jeep lineup needs right now to be relevant and competitive in today's marketplace. However, lackluster acceleration, limited storage space, a too small infotainment display, and a lack of a truly trail-rated model will make it hard for this one to break through, since at this price point, competition is fierce and not standing still. The base manufacturer suggested retail price for the 2026 Jeep Cherokee starts from $36,995 for the base model up to $44,995 for the Overland. Destination charges add $1,995. As tested, I drove the Jeep Cherokee Laredo, which is the second model up from the base, with the following extra cost options, and there were just one: premium exterior paint. Total cost of the options, $595. Total MSRP, including options and destination charges, came to $40,550. Yes, Jeep needs something to be competitive, but they really need to add a Trail Rated model to this mix. Because you know how I feel about this. And I really feel that Jeep is not doing the public right by not making all of their vehicles Jeep rated, Trail Rated capable like they infer. They make you pay extra for it, except in this case, it's not even available. And I think it really needs to be at that sweet spot because everybody else got their knives out. It is a tough spot to be competitive, and there's a lot of good product out there. Big grid problems, small grid solutions. Virtual power plants are having a moment. This is the Tech Mobility Show. Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
Big grid problems, small grid solutions. With all the talk about the grid and EVs and AI and data centers, what everybody seems to agree on is that demand for electric power is going to increase above the traditional growth patterns. What we disagree on is how we're going to survive it and how we're going to satisfy that demand. One of the growing availability choices in the arsenal of local utilities is something called a virtual power plant. Let me explain what that is. A virtual power plant is a cloud-based network of decentralized energy resources such as home solar panels, home batteries, electric vehicles, and smart thermostats. By aggregating these small-scale systems with advanced software, a VPP acts just like a traditional power plant, but without the rate-busting investment. It balances the electrical grid and generating power when demand is high. And given everything that's going on right now, VPPs are having a moment. This is Topic B. Never before has the average consumer had an opportunity to control something that theoretically for years was regarded as a static expense. If you wanted electric power, you had to pay for it. And whatever the rate was, whatever the rate got approved, that's what you paid per kilowatt hour. And that was the way it was. Then came the rise of solar panels back in the day. They've gotten more sophisticated. Add to it in the last 15 years what they call a power bank, or a bank of home-based batteries that could take this solar power and store it for use at a later time. Now, superimpose upon that something called bidirectional charging. Most EVs built now have the ability not just to be charged, but have the ability to draw current from a fully charged EV into your house system if you need it. Meaning, if you are in an area that has sustained power failures, you don't necessarily need to buy a generator. Particularly if you've got a power bank in your home, solar panels on the roof, and an EV in the garage. Depending, you could last 3 to 10 days without pulling any power from the grid. All of that gives you the ability to sell power to the grid, surplus power. That really is the idea behind a virtual power plant. But obviously, if they had to manage every individual one, it doesn't work. So what's going on now, again with technology, is the rise of management systems that can take these diverse power opportunities and put them in such a way that the grid can use them as if it was a single power plant. That's where the magic is. And if you could even just imagine selling power to the utility. Iowa has had a law in the books for many years that if a customer of an Iowa utility produced power in excess of their needs, they could sell it to the utility, and more importantly, the utility had to buy it at fair market rates. Why does this matter? Well, other than the growing gap between available capacity and reserve margin targets, in other words, the growing need for electricity over the next 5 to 10 years, there is a problem with the reliability of the whole system. In its latest long-term reliability assessment, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation found that 13 of the 23 of its assessment areas will, I quote, face resource adequacy challenges over the next 10 years. And if you are within the sound of my voice in the upper Midwest, guess what? We're one of those 13. We are at risk. Big time. Big time. So the old way of approaching this would be to petition the utility board at the state level to build a new facility. Problem is, a new facility would take, depending on how it's powered, anywhere to 3 to 5 years. The shortcut that they're trying to do right now is extend the life of worn-out coal-powered power plants. That ain't good. They require millions of dollars of repairs and maintenance because they were slated to shut down. And when you're working in utility, they look at things over decades. They arrange their investment and capital expenditures over decades. And if they knew 15 years ago that that coal plant was going offline in 2025, their maintenance expenditures would reflect that they wouldn't be expanding capacity. They would be extending the life just to last till they shut it down. So when the government comes along and says, hey, we want you to keep that plant open, it's more of a curse than a blessing for the utility. They didn't spend that kind of money to have it that ready and that reliable, because what they're trying to protect right now when they tell you this is the resilience and reliability of the grid. But you're doing it on the backs of equipment that is past its prime and past its useful life, that has not seen that level of expenditure in maybe 5 to 10 years. So you've got the utility in a quandary right now. Government says I got to keep this plant open, but it needs $20 million worth of investment to do that. And if I do that, you need to guarantee that I can run it for 10 years in order to get my money back at the current rate of returns that the utility board is allowing me to get. Or you're going to let me have a rate increase in order to capture the capital expenditures I was not planning to make for that plant. That's what I'm not telling you. In a virtual power plant situation, the utility doesn't have to spend any money. The homeowner, the business, already has a surplus power generating capability. All they got to do is compile it in the software in such a way where it will benefit the grid when they need it. We used to call that in the industry hot standby. That means keeping a plant running, not connected to the grid, but up and operational, that could be patched into the grid as demand requires. That's expensive. Hot standby is an expensive way to have surplus capacity on tap if you need it. The virtual power plant, however, homes and businesses have already made the investment. They've already made it. All you're doing is capitalizing on the availability of that power for peaks and valleys to keep the grid stable. Because stability is everything in the electrical grid. If the electrical grid becomes unstable or unbalanced, as they said, it triggers those catastrophic shutdowns as it seeks to protect itself from as one fails, rather than shift all of that power onto another circuit, that circuit will open rather than risk damage. And you had a catastrophic shutdown as the load shifts and circuits open to protect the circuits and not burn up. Virtual power plant is one way around that. And there are companies that are rising up to be that middleman for the utility to amass this power in such a way that it can be delivered to the utility in a cost-effective way. Everybody wins. And it really means if you're investing right now for alternative power and backup power for your home, you actually might be setting yourself up to make money, depending on the situation and the needs of your local grid. And you might want to look into that. So it becomes even more than just backup power. It becomes a revenue source for you and your family. Should there be a minimum age for social media use? The United Kingdom thinks so. We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You know, after years of hosting these programs and talking with entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders, I realized something. A lot of people aren't lacking ideas. They're lacking a realistic path to start. That's why I wrote 2-Hour Entrepreneur. It's for people with jobs, families, responsibilities, and dreams that have been sitting on the shelf for too long. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2-Hour Entrepreneur. Progress starts small.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
So I need to ask you, do you, as a parent, a grandparent, or even a great-grandparent, think that there should be a social media ban for everyone under the age of 16? The United Kingdom joins Australia and the United Arab Emirates, which, by the way, they're at 15, with a country-scale limit on social media. And while it applies to Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X, the British ban does not include WhatsApp and Signal. My question? What say you? This is Topic C. Everybody wants to protect, at least parents that love their children want to protect them from the wiles of the world. If you are a Generation X, you are what they consider digital native. Us baby boomers are not. We existed before the internet and digital. So we can function. If it shuts off tomorrow, we're okay. Might take us a minute, but we'll be fine. What do you tell a world that has grown up in and around all sorts of digital devices, laptops, computers, iPhones, iTunes, all sorts of stuff, including a number of apps that I didn't even mention that folks are connected to? We've seen the numbers. We've seen the press about how some are havens for predators. And we've all heard the stories, the heartbreaking stories of kids that were running away to meet somebody they met online, and they weren't who they said they were. And we thought that where we lived would protect our kids. We thought how our relationship with our children, we know what they're doing, we thought. We thought we were okay. We thought they were safe. Until we found out they weren't. I bring you this story from the United Kingdom because and I read only part of their report, but what I saw that I found was refreshing was a nonpartisan consideration that spoke to me like a parent, saying, hey, we understand that there is a lot of good that happens on the internet. You know, kids getting their lessons, getting a chance to learn things and research things, and that's good. But we also realize there's a lot of bad out there. And how do we even begin to address or find a balance between the two? Europe, unfortunately, seems to have, when it comes to digital stuff, more of a thoughtful process toward addressing it. The right to be forgotten, different safeguards that they have installed across all countries in Europe, not just one or two. While the United States struggles for any kind of national control over even the most basic digital controls, let alone our kids. You know, don't get me started. We're not going to have the conversation about personal privacy. You know how I feel about that, and I'm not okay. How do we protect our kids? You can monitor their phones. You can put parental blocks on them, but most parents and a lot of grandparents have found out your grandkids are smart enough to work around it or go to a friend's house or have somebody else unlock the phone. You can slow them down, but honestly, can you stop them? Britain's trying to do that. They're really trying to do that. But the conversation says, yeah, you can ban it, but to make this rule truly airtight, platforms would need reliable age verification for everyone. And that means proving not just which users are under 16, but which users are adults. And the question is, right now, the internet's doing a lousy job at adult verification. Are you 18? Yes, I am. Could be 14. How does it know? Took your word for it. Or do this, do that. Hey, you are digital native. You're already smarter than most of this stuff, and it's changing in real time a lot faster than the parents and the grandparents can keep up. And unfortunately, in the United States, faster than the regulators can keep up. But I'm reading a report. It's called, it's from the UK, from their Department of Science, Innovation, and Technology. It's a consultation outcome. Growing up in the online world, a national conversation. Boy, I wish we could have one of those. And it starts with this sentence that I totally agree with, and I quote, "Every child deserves the strongest possible start in life." It starts with that sentence. That's the first thing it says, first thing. Goes on, yet in the age of smartphones, children's lives are changing fast, sometimes quicker than families, schools, or support services can respond. We know parents everywhere are grappling with how much screen time their children should have, whether they should give them a phone, what they are seeing online, and the impact all of this is having. They worry about AI and their kids talking to chatbots as if they are real people. And they balance it with this. Yet, almost every child growing up today will need digital skills in the future, whether for social life, for school, or a job that hasn't yet been invented. We are determined to help families deal with these issues so that we can keep children safe, give them the childhood they deserve, and prepare them for the future. The British government launched a 3-month study, invited parents, kids, industry folk, said, come, we want to talk to you. Tell us about your concerns. Tell us about the good stuff. Tell us about the bad stuff. We're trying to create a policy here. Wouldn't it have been wonderful if somehow we could have that conversation here? I mean, We love our kids. We love our grandkids. We love our great-grandkids. We want them to be safe. We want them to enjoy being a child. We don't want them to have to grow up early because of some hideous thing that happened to them. We're in uncharted territory, people. Technology is on steroids. It's evolving at warp speed. What you may have known 2 weeks ago ain't necessarily true next week. The access that you think your kids had last year ain't where they're at now. Friends, heck, used to be you went down the block, your friends came over, knocked at the door, can Johnny come out and play? And you hung out till the streetlights came on, you went home. That was real for us. Now, their best friend may be halfway across the world. And there's no guarantee that that individual, if it's an individual, is who they say they are. And that's the problem. Are there easy answers? No, there's not. And at best, this is like guidelines. It's like a speed limit. It establishes limits and things, but honestly, it's a suggestion at best. How are you going to police it? And that is the problem. How will we police this to be as fair as we can be to all the parties that have a vested interest in this situation, on this subject? We've banned cell phones in schools. That's a start. But is it really the answer?
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
If you've been waiting for the perfect time to start your business idea, let me save you some time. That moment probably isn't coming, but 2 focused hours a week? Yeah, most of us can find that. In my new book, 2-Hour Entrepreneur, I'll show you how small, consistent effort can create real momentum toward building something meaningful. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2-Hour Entrepreneur, built for real life.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2-Hour Entrepreneur, practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2-Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.